Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Neha Bharadwaj Alter. What an absolute climax we saw in the last match of the league stage this season. That's right. It's been one of a kind in that it has already seen 8 200-plus totals being chased by the team. It has seen 300s being scored in one day and 1100s overall. On top of that, till the last over of the last game of the league stage, we didn't know who the fourth team will be to qualify for the playoffs. And the fourth team was decided in the most dramatic fashion, with Mumbai Indians first winning their match against Sunrisers Hyderabad, getting to 16 points. But they needed RCB to lose, and Gujarat Titans, more specifically Shubman Gill, obliged by scoring a brilliant century to overshadow Virat Kohli's 100 in the match, winning their last game and making RCB fans furious as their team got knocked out of the tournament. I'm joined here to look back on the league stage as a whole, as well as Royal Challengers Bangalore's campaign, to look back on their campaign as well as the league stage. We are joined here by Vedam Jaishankar, senior cricket analyst. In fact, he's joining me here, and somebody who has a soft spot for Royal Challengers Bangalore. He's been following this team for a while. But we'll also talk about some of the big moments of this IPL league stage. So let's get straight into it, Vedam. Royal Challengers Bangalore failed to qualify, but let's first clarify for all the viewers out there, then it wasn't just because of Shubman Gill that Royal Challengers Bangalore got knocked out. There were already problems within the team, given that their middle order did not perform consistently. Their bowlers, except for Siraj, really were struggling to take wickets. So there were other problems as well. Maybe RCB fans as well as Royal Challengers Bangalore management needs to look into those problems for the next season.
Hey, hi, Meha. Thank you very much for asking all these lovely questions. But before I start off about RCB, what we witnessed yesterday was a mini miracle, or let me put it this way, a modern day miracle. And this is what I think IPL needs to realize. Because yesterday, and even the day before, we had such horrendous rains in Bangalore yesterday. And there were, thunderstorms, there were hailstorms. There was a golf course close by. Their huge steel towers came crashing down, and you know how KSA is. KSA is not even covered, it's uncovered. The ground is left uncovered. Only the pitch and the pitch square is covered. But the sub-air system there works so brilliantly that as soon as the rain ends, they can start playing cricket immediately. As soon as these pitch covers are taken off. Like I said, the outfield, nothing is covered. And this is what I think IPL needs to ensure, at least IPL matches which are played, every such stadium has this kind of facility. I believe Dharmashala has already introduced it a little earlier, a few months ago. So that means 2 grounds, but I think the rest of Indian grounds too need that, because it's close to 150 crores riding on each match, whether it's from the sponsors or the title sponsors or the television cameras or television channels, all that put together, it's about 150 crores riding. And yesterday was a classic example of how a match could be played. Of course, like you correctly said, Shubman Gill really stole the thunder yesterday. He batted brilliantly. And I think RCB right through the season, what we have witnessed is it lacks power hitters. We have just 2 power hitters, that is Faf du Plessis and Maxwell. There is no third power hitter because Virat Kohli is really not a power hitter. So there are no power hitters in the RCB team. And down the line, we just don't have even proper batsmen. There was Rajat Patidar who did very well last year, but he is injured. But so is the RCB team. Many of their bowlers, if you look at it, whether it is Hazelwood or Willie or Topley, they're all injured. And I think RCB was like a lame duck. And yesterday what they performed shows that very clearly. Despite having a score of about 198 to close to 200, they still couldn't defend. Not only they just couldn't defend, they couldn't even run Gujarat Titans close. You know, and that I think sums up RCB's entire challenge right through the season. Not enough batsmen to get those 10s and 12s and 14 runs towards the end. And of course, bowling is just lagging, like you correctly said, just Siraj and nobody else.
Yeah. Okay, let's on the whole discuss this league. 300s were scored in a day. On the last day of the league stage, 300s were scored, 1100s overall, Vedam. I think 200 plus totals have been chased down 8 times in this season. What can we expect next year, given how the approach to T20 batting is changing every year? It was phenomenal to watch. I mean, now teams are just coming in. And they feel anything below 200 is chaseable. And that just makes it even more exciting as to what is to come next year.
Absolutely. Like I keep telling, the RCB's tagline, play bold, is what T20 cricket is all about. Everybody else is playing bold, and right now people don't care about how many wickets are lost. They're just going hammer and tongs. And we are looking at it again and again and again. So, and we've got some brilliant batsmen, young batsmen coming through this season, especially. I'm talking the Indian batsmen. There's Yashasvi Jaiswal and there's Rinku Singh. I mean, out of the blue, we don't have a bowler that way all over India who's come through who's, that way. But look at these batsmen, two brilliant young batsmen we've got. And they have shown how to play bold, and fearlessly. And I think we should really appreciate that the quality of batsmanship that is coming through. And I think as T20 cricket gets more and more and more organized, when I say organized, I think bits and pieces are falling into place. People realize you need power hitters. It's not so much that you need batsmen 8 and 9 and 10 and things like that, but you need power hitters, especially the top 4 or 5 of them have to be big power hitters. And that's the key really to T20 cricket. And especially in India where the grounds are smaller and the pitches are better. Not all pitches, like Chennai has made their ground a fortress. They have made pitches which really help their spinners. So in Chennai, maybe you can defend 150, 160. That could be it could be a winning score actually in Chennai. But everywhere else, I think, like you correctly mentioned, whether it's Bombay or Bangalore, you need that 200 plus, even to think of yourself as being safe.
Absolutely. Okay, Kushan Sarkar, senior sports journalist, also joins us here. Kushan, what a match we saw last night. And in fact, the one before was brilliant as well. 300s, like I was talking to Vedam right now, 300s being scored in a day. And I was looking at the whole league stages, 1100s scored, 200 plus totals, chased down 200 times. This is crazy. I mean, anything below 200 in most of the venues other than Chennai, as Vedam was also mentioning, is not safe anymore. Yesterday's score as well, I mean, I'm sure, Vedam will agree, and so will you, that 200 or 220 would have been actually a safe total there.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, if you look at the RCB batting lineup, at least they were 15 short of par. On a Chinnaswamy track, like Virat was saying, that this time there hasn't been too many people who have actually chased down. Too many teams haven't actually chased down the targets over there. Even 190 to 200 has been very difficult to chase. But Chinnaswamy, primarily the ground where 220 is a target, which is probably a safe score or a par score. So if you haven't achieved that score, then you haven't done well. Virat Kohli scored 100, but yesterday, like I was tweeting, like 60 ball 100, 50 ball 100 is the new 60 ball 100. Like 61 ball 100, 61 ball 100, it's now like you're expected, the batsman expected. But the new crop of Indian batters, the new younger generation of batters, they're scoring 45, 50 ball 100. So that 5 or 10 ball deficit, that is also happening. And if you see, Virat scored 100, what's the next best score? 28. Whereas with Shubman, there was Vijay Shankar. They had this 123 run partnership. And Vijay Shankar also, after when the ball was initially gripping, he was finding it difficult. Shubman also said that he was trying to hit hard. And once he got a hang of the pitch, after that, he hit those 3 or 4 sixes also. So he also scored some 53 or 35 also. So he had a partnership. And that has been RCB's bane. Just like Delhi Capitals, they also never had the Indian batter, say Virat Kohli, clicking. Dinesh Karthik had a season which he would like to ideally forget. After having finished so many matches last season, he hasn't finished anything. It looked as if this would be his last, but with IPL, you never know. You can always make a comeback in IPL. So, with Dinesh Karthik also that can happen. But Mahipal Lomro, 135 runs in 10 games. So if you look at these kind of the Indian players, they didn't measure up.
Yeah.
The Indian
Yeah.
players. So the heavy lifting was done by Virat, it was done by Pat, and it was done by Maxwell to an extent. But again, Maxwell has his problems against spinners, against quality spinners, and that was a great delivery.
No, so
From
you're
Rashid
right about this. Indian batters haven't done well, but I also look back on RCB and I feel like they've really not invested in serious Indian talent other than Virat Kohli. I mean, look at the players who've. I was just looking at the list of top scorers for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Of course, Virat Kohli sits at the top, 7,000 plus runs. Indian batters below, you'll see Chris Gales and AB de Villiers there. Indian batters, the next best there is Rahul Dravid, 890 odd runs, and then Devdutt Padikkal, 850 odd runs. You let Devdutt Padikkal go after he won the Emerging Player of the Award that season, I think. So clearly there is this obsession. Let's also get Vedam in. Clearly there is this obsession with some big overseas players around Virat Kohli. That does not seem to work for them, but they keep sticking with this formula.
See, I can understand when Vijay Mallya was in charge of the team. He was more interested in brand building and things like that. But after that, if you really look, some of the names that you dropped were absolutely right. But look at the others. We lost KL Rahul. We lost Mayank Agarwal. We lost so many. And Manish Pandey, when he was in top form, we should have kept all these players. They are local players. They understand the rules. They understand cricket. They are big hitters. We would have needed them. But we just let them go. On the other hand, we spent 9 crores for Harshal Patel. And Harshal Patel is this year a bowler where every batsman is waiting for his slower delivery. They're not worried about his faster delivery. They know the slower delivery is coming. And if you really look at it, most of his slower deliveries have been hit out of the park this time, and he's so confused. The point is, he's been studied, they have analyzed him, they've studied him, they know it. But when you spend 9 crores on a Harshal Patel, and then you have let go so many youngsters, I can understand Rajat Patidar was injured, so you lost him out. But look at some of the other players that some of them have got. People who are virtually unknown players, like a Rinku Singh, for instance, virtually unknown. And he's been such a success. Why couldn't RCB get players like that? It means the talent scouts are not working. And with that, RCB, what we have noticed is, it's not just the men's team, even the women's team. You have some 3 or 4 big players. Beyond that, you don't have anybody. So I think this having a New Zealander as a coach or a Bombay guy as a batting coach, it just doesn't work because they are too orthodox. Somebody like CSK, for instance, there is Dhoni as the captain. He can be terribly unorthodox. He thinks out of the box virtually. So although there is Fleming there, I think they complement each other well. But in RCB's case, that's not working. I think the coach and the assistant coach, the batting coach, they're all syncing together. And for a game like T20, where, if you have read about Malcolm Gladwell, where he says, the advantage of slice, the slice theory comes in again. And I don't think RCB has even got a clue what it means. And if it was only with their team and only for 1 year, you could understand. But if it's happening again and again, it's happening with the men's team and the women's team, where you just have 2 or 3 good players and the rest of them are, God knows what they're up to. Then I think RCB has a problem because there is a pattern. And that pattern is not very comforting.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about Shubman Gill's knock. Now, first of all, for all the viewers out there, it is not, like I said in the beginning, it's not because of Shubman Gill that Royal Challengers Bangalore lost. And this is especially for RCB fans who've been blaming Shubman Gill. Not just that, they've gone a step further. They've abused Shubman Gill's sister on social media. First of all, that's a terrible thing to do. And like we've been discussing, it's not Shubman Gill really or his sister who are responsible for RCB getting knocked out of the playoffs. I think there are a lot of other problems. It's good to support your team, but to do that on social media, to abuse somebody is not right. Now, having said that, let's talk about Shubman Gill and how brilliant that knock was, Vedam and Kushan. After Virat Kohli carried his team literally on his shoulders, and he's done it on many occasions this year for Royal Challengers Bangalore. It was a single-handed effort. You needed something special, and Shubman Gill provided that. How special was this knock? And also, do you think, keep putting that in context, was that the best knock of the league stages? Let me start with Kushan and then I'll come to Vedam. Kushan?
Yeah, and Meha, I think that this knock and Surya Kumar Yadav's century, both are on par with me. But considering that Shubman could play more freely, his team was on top, they would have in any case finished on top. So he played with a lot of freedom. He was basically, you can say that it was fearless cricket on his part. And look at his range. He's someone who doesn't need to play 360 cricket because he can play orthodox cricket and still score at a strike rate of 258 sixes.
Yeah.
And that pickup shot of Michael Bracewell, the pickup shot behind square that went for a six, that was unbelievable. That is someone you need strong wrists also, but at the same time he needs to be supple. So Shubman Gill is batting in a different league. This is his time. He will have these kind of phases where he can do nothing wrong, and then there will be phases when he will do everything right and he will not get the runs.
Yeah.
So he's making hay till the sun shines. So this phase will last for a time, and then again you'll have a lull. So if he's making best use of that phase, and you should be happy that okay, fine, he's in this kind of a touch, and now we are going there. Obviously, red ball cricket in England is completely different, but form is something that you always like to carry. If you are in form, you are confident. You are going there in England. You'll carry that confidence. So that is where, and Shubman Gill possibly is the guy who will break Prav du Plessis' record. He's 50 short right now. He will at least get 2 matches.
Yeah.
Either way, whether Gujarat qualifies for the final or not, he gets 2 matches. I believe he can score those 50, 51 runs in those 2 matches, and he deserves.
Yeah.
And he deserves that orange cap. I believe more than anyone else.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I think of that knock, and then I'll ask Vedam the same thing. Number one, I agree that Gujarat Titans had nothing to lose. Shubman Gill had nothing to lose. So he was playing more freely than, say, a Virat Kohli. Also, Virat Kohli did not get support from anybody else. Shubman Gill got support from Vijay Shankar. Having said that, there was a team at the other end desperate to win, Vedam. And I don't know, I got the feeling that that determination that Shubman Gill showed, despite not really needing to win that game, that stands out for me. Because great players, very often you talk to them in interviews and the one thing they tell you is that they hate to lose. You know, they're sore losers, they hate to lose, they'll do anything to win. And I felt like that hunger to win was there in Shubman Gill. And of course, a game that could pull him out, that could like sort of take him to the victory line. So I get that. But that's why I feel that innings was so special, because here is somebody who's sitting there in the dugout, who he claims is his idol, who's played this absolutely crazy knock, and then you go out there and outdo your idol. Does that make sense? Do you agree with that, or do you think that there's some other knock? I mean, I thought Yashasvi Jaiswal's 100 was brilliant as well, and the 98 with the fastest 50. But your call on that.
Sure, I wholeheartedly agree with you, especially sometimes when you have nothing to lose. Instead of being determined, you could play loosely, you know.
Yeah.
And he really didn't play loose. He had a plan and he stuck to the plan. And that short arm pull of his, and I don't know why somebody like Siraj fed him into that. You know, he got hit out of the stands. I think a couple of times at least Siraj got hit. And Siraj with his experience should have realized that Shubman Gill is very good with that short arm pull. But he still continued with that. But having said that, Meha, just earlier when you mentioned about these people, the fans taking out on Shubman Gill and his sister, I've been covering IPL right from the beginning, right from the first season. And I know how bewildered the Indian players were. Like somebody like Sachin coming to Bangalore and getting booed. He had never had that kind of a feeling, you know, or somebody like Rahul Dravid or Anil Kumble going somewhere and getting booed. I think that was shocking for them. They just couldn't take it because it was the first time it's happening. And for the first time, you're having some sort of club affinities rather than national affinities or state affinities. And I think that's a little difficult to digest, both for the players and for the fans. But actually, I mean, it's crazy if you're going to be a cricket fan, or let's say an RCB fan, and you're praying for Shubman Gill's failure, which is ridiculous. Because I mean, okay, you want RCB to win, but at the same time, you want a good youngster to do well. We were
Yeah.
very happy with Rinku Singh. We were very happy with Jaiswal, not because they belong to XYZ team, but because they're good youngsters. And you know, ultimately, when you're selecting the Indian team, you need good youngsters. And people are paying top money to come and watch good cricket. And
Yeah.
why would you wish somebody bad? Actually, you should wish that your team plays better, which was not the case here. Your team
Absolutely.
could play better. And yeah, but he was really outstanding. And I think whatever test they have thrown at him in this IPL, he's passed it with flying colors. And I think he is somebody we need to watch out for the future. And the sooner he tightens his game, I think he'll be a great asset to Indian cricket.
Let's also talk about Kohli's 100 then, Kushan. We've seen him do this before. This is back-to-back 100. Last match scored 100. This match scored 100. He, along with Faf du Plessis, 900 plus runs, created a record. Did you see shades of 2016 in Kohli, especially in the last 200s? Because again, red ball cricket versus white ball cricket, I get it. You know, they're going for World Test Championship final now. Which will be a different ball game, but he looks like he's in form. Did you see shades of that 973 in 2016 in Virat Kohli?
Oh yes, definitely. He's again looking very assured in the manner he's hitting those strokes. And that short arm pull is back. The cover drives are back. There's more punch in his stroke. There's spring in his strides. And obviously, he is hurt. His ego was hurt when people said that probably he's playing archaic brand of T20 cricket. Otherwise, he wouldn't have told BCCI's World Feed yesterday during the break that a lot of people think that my T20 game is on the decline, but I don't think so. That was not only a statement for the fans or the supporters or the Kohli critics, but also for the point made for the National Selection Committee, which will select the T20 team for the West Indies. And he would probably tell to hell with workload management. I don't need any rest. I still feel that in West Indies and USA during the 2025 World T20, 2024 World T20, I could very much be a part of the scheme of things, the Indian scheme of things in T20, but I don't think the Indian cricket will move in that direction as far as T20 cricket is concerned. Because if you have Kohli, who is the best, we have seen that it can the best can be bettered. And we saw it yesterday live.
Exactly.
That someone else could also score, play in that slot and score the century, 10 balls, taking 10 balls less. So you have options right now. And may I just, if you allow me, 20 seconds, I'll just say, like Vedam sir rightly pointed out about the talent scouts, and I just wanted to add my 2 bit. This year, RCB added a talent scout system called Artificial Intelligence Remote Talent Scouting System, where they would have a program through artificial intelligence. They will go to the remote areas of Karnataka and other areas of India also and find out fast bowling talent and see, and they have certain set parameters. I don't think, and it was like Malolan Rangarajan, the former Tamil Nadu spinner who has also been the scout, was in charge. Not a single player emerged who actually they felt could have played for RCB in any one of the matches. I do not know about Himanshu Sharma, the spinner. It was primarily done to find fast bowlers, but we didn't find any fast bowlers. We found Himanshu Sharma, a leg spinner who played yesterday, and he hasn't played any serious senior level matches because I couldn't find any data either of Syed Mustaq Ali or Vijay Hazare Trophy. So what was about the talent scout? Like Vedam sir rightly said that. So it's very nice to market it as a artificial intelligence, remote sensing talent scout. They also have a very well-known data analyst from England who is also associated, I believe, with the England national team. What are these people doing? Then you'll see so many theories, so many calculations, and so many maths. At the end of the day, bottom line, you have to have players who win you matches. Mahendra Singh Dhoni knows that trick. Ashish Nehra knows that trick.
Absolutely. Very well said. And in fact, How much of this has to be blamed on Virat Kohli, the captain, who's been captaining RCB for 10 years before he finally stepped down? That's another question for everybody. It's a controversial one. Anything you say about Virat Kohli is controversial, but this is what Kushan was referring to. We're going to put that quote up for you. This is what Virat Kohli had said in the mid-innings interview, right after he'd scored that 100. He said, yeah, I felt great. A lot of people feel my T20 cricket is declining, but I don't feel like that at all. I feel I'm playing my best T20 cricket again. I'm just enjoying myself. This is how I play T20 cricket. I'm also going to compare his knock to Shubman Gill's, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to, what's the question that I'll be asking Vedam. But then he goes on to say, I look to hit gaps, hit a lot of boundaries, and the big ones in the end, if the situation allows me to. Then he adds, strike rates, all those kind of things, like I said in the past as well. He says you have to read the situation and rise up to the occasion. So this is him saying, don't feel my T20 cricket is declining. Now, two things, Vedam. One being, yes, this is the second time he said this. The first time he said, after the 100 that he scored, the first 100 of this IPL, he said that you know, I like to stay true to my technique, right? That's what he had said. And now he's saying that I don't feel my T20 cricket is declining. Of course, this is for the critics. This is for people who think that he's not being able to play in the innovative way that one is expected to today. But having said that, we saw what Shubman Gill did yesterday. I was just looking at the scores, right? So Virat Kohli hit 1 6 to Shubman Gill's 8 sixes. He struck at 165. Shubman Gill struck at 200. He's playing his game. He's also playing it beautifully. But does T20 cricket today does it demand more out of you? And is that something that the newer generation is doing, be it Shubman Gill, be it Yashasvi Jaiswal?
See, there are two ways of looking at it. One is the classic saying, lies, bloody lies, and statistics. So let's look at who are the bowlers that Kohli is facing and who are the bowlers Shubman Gill is facing. You know, it's an entire, except for Siraj, there was nobody else in the RCB team that he really had to worry about. And whereas Gujarat Titans had great spinners, had outstanding fast bowlers, so it was a different ball game altogether. Plus, you also know that you're just 2 or 3 batsmen you have. And if you lose an early wicket and you also try to hit out and go quickly after Maxwell and Faf, your team will be maybe 80 all out or 90 all out. You just don't have the depth in batting either. So many of these times you really can't take it at face value. And let's look at IPL. IPL basically, what is it? A lot of flat pitches, a lot of small boundaries. Because the franchises also, plus IPL Governing Council, the BCCI want to see a lot of runs. They want to see a lot of excitement on television. They do that. But you go to Australia, you go to England, they're not going to give you flat pitches. They're not going to give you small boundaries, you know. And that time, a lot of skill also comes in. Now, the way we are looking down on technique, I don't like that because cricket technique has not changed. It's still the same. You know, whether it was 100 years ago or today, a lot of the technique is still the same. And that is what Virat Kohli is really referring to, that his technique has not changed. He will play, he will continue playing as he's playing. What we really are noticing is, it is the bowlers with quirks in their action who are actually delivering in this IPL. It is not the clean bowlers. So the difference is there in batting and bowling. Maybe bowling techniques, you need to slightly bend the rules a bit over there. But batting is totally different. You might come good in IPL with some slam bam batting on flat pitches and small grounds. But I think in the long run, it's somebody like Virat Kohli is absolutely right. For me, the quintessential Virat Kohli was in that final over. We couldn't see it live, but when we looked at it on television, I mean, when I went live at the stadium, you couldn't see the expression. But on television, when you look at it, I think it was the last over, the second ball or third ball, he was desperate for a second run. And he wanted that second run. Now look at a guy, he's already 100 runs. He's run like a hare right through. And Anuj Rawat refused the second run because I think he thought he couldn't make it. And Kohli glared at him and he shouted something which
The
maybe
good
only
thing is that Anuj Rawat hit a 6 right after that.
No, no,
Because
that's
otherwise
different.
he
That's
would have.
different. No,
Yeah.
that's different. I'm not
Yeah.
talking of that. I'm talking of the attitude
Yes,
and
I
see
get
the
it. I get
fitness
it.
of the guy. The fitness of the guy after 100 runs, and in this baking heat, he's still fit enough to run more. You know, when we look at the ultimate T20 cricketers, maybe we need the tall, hefty guys and the guys with a lot of stamina and the guys with a lot of strength to hit. And Virat Kohli definitely has a stamina. You might say that he's not as big and strong as, let's say, Andrew Russell or one of these guys. Look at
Yeah.
the English guys, some of them, the way they're hitting huge sixes. But he's got the stamina, he's got the willpower, he's got the mental strength, and he's got the ability. So I think
Yeah.
nobody should take anything away from Virat Kohli. He is a great, maybe one of the few all-time greats that we have produced.
Absolutely. No, without taking anything away from how great he is in all three formats of the game, I think the question more is around the changing nature of T20s. And, how long can you see players like him bat like the way they're doing? And it's Virat Kohli, I'm again saying that. He was brilliant yesterday without taking anything away from him. The newer generation, are they doing something different? Are they adjusting to this T20 format in a better way? That is the question. Let's also get Kushan into this conversation because I feel like he will have a different view to this. He's already talked about it in the difference that you saw, Kushan, between Virat Kohli and Shubman Gill. Do you see now, you already said that he wants to continue to play T20Is and that it probably is a statement for the selectors. Is he aiming World Cup, T20 World Cup next year?
Oh, for sure. For sure. But whether the communication, the clear communication between selectors and the board and Virat Kohli, it's a tripartite communication that needs to happen. The board is one of the party, the secretary, who is also the convener of the selection committee, the selectors, and the player in question, and also the captain of the T20 team, how he looks and how he perceives his T20 team. So these are some of the factors that are there. All these things need to come together and in sync before a final decision is taken. Now here we're talking about a guy like Virat Kohli. Telling Kedar Yadav that your India days are over, or either Diman Saha that your India days are over, is very easy. Then they are people, there won't be repercussions. But when you're talking about a player of Virat Kohli's stature, there are a lot of repercussions. Yeah. So they have played it safe till now with Virat Kohli, with Rohit Sharma, that they, due to workload management, and these senior players are right now not being picked for T20. And this year we have more ODIs. ODI World Cup is the focus. So this year we are not doing it. But what are you going to do after once the 50 over World Cup is over? After that, even these senior cricketers would like to know their future because they are not going to retire. They are not going to say that we have retired. What BCCI is planning is a bloodless kind of a change where there is no hard feelings, and this transition happens without making any official statement where there are no hard burns and everything, that people feel that they've been dropped, they've been ignored. They're trying to make it a bit more decent, a bit more civil in a manner, not telling anyone anything. That let's do it in a cool, collective manner. But will that happen after the World Cup ends in November, when you'll have 5-6 months left for the T20 World Cup? What do you do then? Because if you have youngsters playing till then and in settled roles, suddenly you cannot have the seniors back 6 months prior to that World Cup. Precisely, if you look at 2007 50 over World Cup in West Indies, that is what exactly happened. Greg Chappell wanted something else, and once Dilip Vengsarkar replaced Kiran More as the chairman of selector, it became, Vedam sir can shed more light about that period, but that is what has happened. So you do not want that confusion. And also, selectors nowadays, Dilip Vengsarkar has a different stature. He could stand up to a Greg Chappell with 100 test matches. Can Shit Sundar Das go up? In Australian cricket culture, in England, they have that culture. But can Shit Sundar Das or whoever becomes the chairman of selectors, if not Shit Sundar Das, Does he have the capability to go up and tell Virat Kohli, listen, this is how we want to move. Thank you for your contribution to T20 cricket, but this is how we feel. We're going to go. Paul Downton did that with Kevin Peterson and caused a lot of heartburn. And you can read KP's autobiography, and he has taken both, I believe, Paul Downton and also Andrew Strauss to cleaners in his autobiography when he was dropped. So, like, these things happen, but who will bell the cat? Who is the person who is going to go and tell? Sandeep Patil did that with Sachin Tendulkar when they thought that probably he will not play ODI cricket anymore. They said that. Vikram Rathod spoke to Virender Sehwag. So, you need someone to speak to them and at least have clarity. Otherwise, there will be a lot of heartburn, there will be a lot of disappointment, there will be a lot of probably miscommunication, and you want to avoid that.
Yeah, we've already seen, this kind of an incident with Sourav Ganguly and Virat Kohli. We don't want to see another one. But let's also now talk about some of the big moments of the league stages. We've discussed Virat Kohli, we've discussed Shubman Gill, but moments, big talking points, moments that stand out for you. Vedam sir, let me start with you. Let's start with one. So the one that we have decided to put out for our viewers is, I think you and Kushan will agree with this, is the rising star in Yashasvi Jaiswal, and how nice it is to watch him, the kind of range that he has, the shot making, also just the way he's sort of come into his own. He's matured into this player who's doing well for Rajasthan Royals, but more than that, that he is India's future, possibly in all three formats. So Yashasvi Jaiswal, brilliant in the way he's played this season, and also because in the last couple of seasons that he played, he came in with this, the runs in domestic cricket, but just wasn't able to translate that success in IPL. This season's been his breakthrough season, 625 runs, highest 124, striking at 160 plus. Would you agree with the rise of Yashasvi Jaiswal as one big point out of this league stage?
Absolutely. When you take somebody like Jaiswal, now whom is he opening with? He's opening with one of the most hardened cricketers in world cricket, that is Joss Butler. And when you compare, he is not diminished in any way. He's actually matching him maybe stroke for stroke, or maybe sometimes he's even playing better than him. So I think Jaiswal now is hungry. You look at another statement of his, Prithvi Shaw. Maybe Prithvi Shaw was, a little ahead of him, but right now, I think Jaiswal is far ahead of Prithvi Shaw. Not just ahead, far ahead, because he looks fitter, he's batting better, and more than anything else, he is really playing the ideal T20 cricket. He's fearless. He's going up to the bowling right from first ball. And I think that shows the kind of mindset. A lot of cricket is mental. It's a lot of mindset. And he's got the right mindset for it. And more than anything else, he is a left-hander. So I think we really have unearthed a very, very good cricketer in Jaiswal. And I think you have to really groom him now. It's always good to groom a young batsman, when he's got youth and arrogance on his side. He doesn't care whom he's taking on. You can throw the world's best bowler at him, and he'll say, no, I can take this guy to the cleaners. That's the kind of arrogance that youth has. And especially when youth has got the good arrogance, I'm saying good arrogance. If it's got good arrogance, and of course the ability of somebody like a Jaiswal, I think you have a winner, and we really need to back him to the hilt.
Absolutely. And I also felt, Kushan, we've had this conversation in our previous shows when we've discussed Rajasthan Royals as to how he's sort of come into his own. And what I mean by saying this is that when I watch his interviews, he's far more confident as a person. He is, of course, far more confident as a batter. But you just see this change. It almost felt to me that in IPL, in the last couple of seasons that he was there, he just wasn't himself. He wasn't really, he was still trying to find his feet. This year, he seems to have just, what do I say? He's just sort of sucked in everything that comes with IPL. He's started enjoying that space being with the best players in the world. He's not overawed by the moment. Interviews, I feel like, he just wants to talk. He wants to express himself. So on and off the field, there's a huge change in him, and he's just 21 years old.
Obviously, and I believe the crux of it when one of my colleagues spoke to his coach Jwala Singh, his childhood coach. What he said is that right now he practiced like he does insane amount of, he has put in insane amount of hard work. Like, it is very difficult to get him out of the net. Even when he's playing for Rajasthan Royals, it is he wants to bat and bat. The more practice you put in, the dividends will show. The hard work never goes waste. Yes, you might have a period of lull, you might work hard, still you might not get the result, but that can happen briefly. That will not happen. If you are working hard, if your process is correct, if you are true and honest with your ethos, work ethics, you're going to ultimately get the results. And with him, he went to, I think, to one of the Maharashtra villages where Rajasthan Royals has an academy. In the off season, he has practiced. And this is just not a mere flash in the pan. He has had a Ranji Trophy season where he has been one of the highest scorers. Yeah. He has had a Vijay Hazare Trophy where he has done well. He has done well across formats in domestic cricket. So he's carrying his form. It's just not that he has landed and scored the runs. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in sport and in high quality, high stakes tournaments like IPL. So the effort, the hard work that he has put in, he has got fitter. Yes, he has got stronger. Yeah. He has got, he has built in, he has added muscles. So you can understand when you see that power in his shots. He looks fitter on the ground when he's fielding. His fielding has become way more sharper. And obviously he has learned the art of scoring runs. It's just not about the skills you have. Also, in situations you need to know the art of scoring runs. He knows that. He has decoded the art. Yashasvi Jaiswal will have one season off here and there, but Yashasvi Jaiswal, in the next 10-year period, he will give you 500, 600 runs season after season. It will not be an orange cap season always, but he will be that effective player. He will be that face of Rajasthan Royals throughout the 10 years. Every team franchise needs a face. Finally, Rajasthan has got a face that will be there with them. They wanted Sanju Samson, but that will be Yashasvi Jaiswal, who will
absolutely,
be that
I agree.
face, lasting.
Yeah, and the quality and range of his shots. I mean, that and to think that he's 21, he's only going to get better from here on. Okay, the other big find really of this league stage was Rinku Singh. Has to be Rinku Singh, guys. The best finisher. On top of that, three absolutely brilliant games to have come out of this IPL. These last over, last ball affairs. Rinku Singh. First was, the match against Gujarat Titans where he hit 5 sixes. Yash Dayal was not the same after that. Then, of course, there's another match where he hit a 4 off the last ball to take his team over the line. Almost won the game, the last game they played against Lucknow Super Giants. Rinku Singh and the story itself, Vedam. IPL always throws these stories. Every season we talk about these players who come out of nowhere or have been around but have this breakthrough season. How impressed were you with Rinku Singh?
Absolutely. I think he is an outstanding cricketer. You know what I really like about Rinku Singh is he's unfazed by situations. He is willing to take on anybody at any time. And it's not just wild hitting. He's watching. He knows. He's a left-hander. He stays low, and he's got all that power from low to high. And he waits for the ball. And the way he plays, it's a waiting game that he's playing. He's not blindly hitting, except for that last over where he really had to go for it and hit those 5 sixes. But that also, you need to hold your nerve to go and hit 5 sixes. You need to dream big and at the same time exploit that. But even if you look at some of the other matches, even when he's fielding, I mean, he's giving you 150%. The way he throws himself at the ball, fields and bats. And I think he is so hungry and so intent on impressing. And it's actually, so absorbing to watch him in action, whether he's fielding or whether he's batting. And I think these are the kind of guys who will put their life on the line for the side.
Yeah.
You need them on your team. You need them with you. You need to back them because they are the ones who will really carry the day for you. They're not worried about who's going to bowl against them. They're not worried what the situation is. And the never say die attitude.
Absolutely.
No coaching camp, no practice, nothing can give you that kind of attitude. It's that never say die attitude of Rinku Singh that makes him such an invaluable cricketer. And of course, he's got God-given gifts like his timing. His timing of his shots is incredible. He times it so well. Although he's, small statured guy,
Yeah.
the ball was out of the stadium by a mile. And I think he's one of the really, really, really big finds that we have this year. Correctly, you put him out as a great finisher, and I wish that he's given a lead as quickly as possible so that he plays for India and proves his talent beyond.
Absolutely. 474 runs this season, most in IPL history by a batter coming at number 5 or below. 450 plus scores in chases. Brilliant. 5 sixes versus GT, last ball 4 against PBKS, and of course the LSG match. Brilliant, Rinku Singh. Quickly, we've got to wrap this up, but last one, I think I wanted to take some action off the field. It was on the field, but off the field. Virat Kohli, Gautam Gambhir spat, added a bit of masala, which is also needed in the IPL, not in the way that it became, it became far bigger than it was meant to be. And I think players shouldn't be on the field, fighting with each other. That's not what this gentleman's game is for. But this created, of course, a controversy. There was a lot of talk around it. People were trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong. Bottom line was both of them were wrong. Both of them shouldn't have done it. Kushan, your quick reaction to this one, and I'm going to then end the show.
Unfortunate and unavoidable. It could have been avoided at every cost. There is no need for those fingering once the match has finished. I still believe, like you can say, that cricket never was a gentleman's game, as the common refrain goes. But at the end of the day, once the match is finished, you shake hands and you move on.
Absolutely.
And that should have been the case. You should have shaken hands and moved on. There is nothing like this was uncalled for. Because as Virendra Sehwag said, that tomorrow millions of kids who follow them, they might think that they have the license to behave like that. And that is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
So you are not setting the right example. So not going into who is right, who is wrong, that is an unfortunate and unavoidable.
Okay, completely out of time. Thank you so much. So unacceptable and unavoidable. That's what this, that's nicely put by Kushan Sarkar. We're completely out of time. Hope you enjoyed our show. News 9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the world of sports. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.